Well, tonight, Mwangi Kiunjuri is rattled, and whoever rattles a snake should be prepared to be bitten. And is Kiunjuri spoiling for a fight with President Uhuru Kenyatta? Now, this will be nasty if we go by his press conference that was held barely 5 hours after he was asked unceremoniously from the cabinet. It's been coming anyway, and he says he wasn't surprised by that move from the president. Now, the BBI task force too couldn't have been surprised by the president's move to extend and redefine its mandate. Well, Kenya is moving forward. And this is our first show of the year, and I take this opportunity to wish you a better year than 2019 was. Look out for our segment, Who Said What? And obviously that comes right after our cartoon of the week and just before Time Bar. Sauti kidogo. But first, as always, it's my take. And tonight we seek to face our fears as Kenyans. The last time the cabinet was reshuffled, the list was read by State House spokesperson Kanzedena. Before then, all other appointments were either done through press statements, but this is not our interest tonight on Sidebar. This morning, President Uhuru Kenyatta stood alone at the lawn of the State House in Mombasa and read a long statement detailing his plans for the year 2020. And appropriately, his agenda number 6 was on politics. Conspicuously absent or missing from that press conference was his principal assistant and the Deputy President, William Ruto. Not a new phenomena. In fact, it's increasingly becoming the order of the day or the norm for the two. Now, the president seems to be working alone. And this is because of the politics which continue to polarize this country. And you'll be forgiven to think Kenya is going to the polls in the next few months. The division in the Jubilee government is so apparent that the tension between President Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto can no longer be hidden. Things are thick, to say the least, and the only thing that still keeps the two together is obviously the Constitution and the rule of law. A few days ago, Deputy President Ruto openly accused the government of wasting public funds to support Raila's political agenda, guised as the BBI sensitization programs. At the center of the fallout is the Jubilee Party, is Ruto's displeasure with his boss's accommodation of his political nemesis, that's Raila Odinga. Now, Ruto also blames a section of Uhuru's inner circle of frustrating him and those allied to him. And specifically, he blames powerful CS, Fred Matiang'i, and his PS, Karanja Kibicho. The DCI is also blamed, and so is the DPP, who are also accused of leaning on one side of the Jubilee government or of the Kenyan government. All these are attributed to some, quote, order from above. Well, who could be above a deputy president in the country or in this country? Has that faction allied to the deputy president fallen short of naming the president as the one issuing these orders from above? Your guess is as good as mine. And it's only in Kenya that the deputy president admits of being boxed into a corner by his own government, blames his subordinates of frustrating him, and seems not to get the ear of his boss. In other words, the fallout is so apparent as day and night. So what are Ruto's options? One, he may just decide to stick with the government to the very end, or alternatively, he may walk away from that relationship. But will he? And what are the consequences of pulling that move? Well, it's true. There's no more jubilation in the Jubilee Party. There are two camps. It is also true that the bromance between President Kenyatta and his deputy has come to an end. The center has collapsed. And in our quote today, as an Irish poet, William Butler Yeats once put it, the center can no longer hold. My guests tonight, Professor Herman Manyora, Isaac Mwaura, Nelson Koech, and Richard Onyonka. At Ken Mijungu on Twitter, on Instagram, and Facebook. Take time and follow us there. Welcome to our program tonight. Join the conversation. As always, use the hashtag Sidebar at NTV Kenya. Sidebar begins right now.
Waziri wa Kilimo Bwana Kiunjuri, tujue ya kwamba sasa mchezo umeisha. Tafuta hawa watu ambao wanakula mali ya wengine, utuletee tufunge, ama wewe mwenyewe utakuwa na shida katika hiyo shida mambo.
I promise you and I swear before God, you try that again and you'll see what is going to happen to you. Sisi hatutaki mchezo tena, kwa sababu tumeona yale ambayo mmefanya, na wale ambao walifanya tutawafuata.
And of course, by end of day today, and as at this time, this is what still shows on Mwangi Kiunjuri's page, if you can have it, Mark. This is Mwangi Kiunjuri, still listed as Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries on his Twitter handle. So definitely they're not prepared to bring this down. Let's probably check on the ministry's website. Minister of Agriculture, Livestock, Fisheries and Irrigation. The Cabinet Secretary is still listed as Mwangi Kiunjuri by end of the day today. So, gentlemen, Happy New Year and welcome to Sidebar.
Happy New Year.
I'm glad to have you for the first show this year. And let me begin with Herman.
Yes.
Herman, did Mwangi Kiunjuri see this coming?
Of course, he said he saw it coming and everybody knew. In fact, it was long overdue.
But you believe he saw it coming?
He said so, I think so. He must have been prepared. I don't think he has the kind of stuff people normally keep in offices. Photographs of children and wives. I don't think they were there. No, for a long while.
Okay.
I don't think.
So you believe Mwangi Kiunjuri was actually prepared for this?
I believe him.
All right.
When he says that.
Isaac, do you think Mwangi Kiunjuri was prepared for this? Did he see it coming?
No, he was prepared.
He was prepared for it?
Completely.
Okay. Nelson Quaid,
I think he was.
you think he was prepared?
He was fully prepared.
Okay. And finally, Richard.
You know, when you are in the cabinet, because I've been there, you still never get prepared.
Okay. Foreign affairs.
Yes, I
Yes.
was a deputy minister. You always make a presumption either you're going up, all right, or something great is going to happen.
Okay.
If you have issues, like once in a while you have issues, then you would assume that there are quiet interventions which you've made to the president, and he would come through for you. Once, you know, remember when I said it would make sense if we actually negotiated with Al-Shabaab. President Kibaki wasn't too happy with me. I had to look for
Ways to go and talk to him.
ways on how I could tell him, say, you know, this thing, I didn't understand the implication. I don't know, I'm learning. He said, okay, keep your mouth shut and
Don't talk about it
Don't
again.
talk about it
So
again.
you're the only one in this panel tonight who agrees that probably he was not prepared for it. The reason why, gentlemen, I'm asking this question is if you are usually prepared for such, and the kind of humiliation that he says he's gone through, you'll definitely be prepared. He would have resigned. What stopped him from resigning if he was prepared for this?
I think Mwangi would not have resigned because he also wanted to attract some sense of sympathy
Yes.
that he has been sacked. So he played it cool, but he was actually also daring, kind of. In fact, if your own Daily Nation, Sunday Nation, many weeks before, were asking, is Mwangi Kiunjuri dying to be sacked? You can find it. So he was just trying to do so, and I think he has succeeded exactly doing so. So we are going to be seeing Mwangi Kiunjuri who is more emboldened because he's even launched his own party, the Service Party. You saw them speaking in Laikipia, I think in Nyahururu. So he is actually hell-bent on ensuring that he lays some claim of the Mount Kenya bloc. That is what you're going to see more of Mwangi Kiunjuri.
Okay, something that he disastrously did while he was in the cabinet.
In terms of what?
In terms of trying to promote his own party?
No. You see, he wouldn't have done much when he was in cabinet because he's actually not supposed to be a politician. He's supposed to, abide by the rules of cabinet. Yeah, I mean, he's supposed to be non-political and what have you. But now he's a political animal. Okay. You need to remember why Mwangi Kiunjuri was brought into the cabinet. It's because really he was a strong ally of Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto, but he defied them by not joining TNA or URP, and he had to be crushed. And crushed he was. In fact, he was going to win the gubernatorial seat of like
2017.
Yeah, but then Mr. Irongo won, and Joshua Irongo won. So
2013.
2013. So you see now him towing the line, and after 2 years of them being in government, and after Waiguru had been told to step aside, is when they came for him. And when they came for him, then he has been in government, you can say, for, is it 4 years or so, or thereabout?
Kind of,
Yeah. So he knew his game plan, that he was very much interested in succeeding Uhuru Kenyatta in Mount Kenya region. And he has never hit that ambition. You could even remember Mwangi Kiunjuri in the days of Mwai Kibaki, because he actually, he has a very inspiring story from a matatu tout, to what he has become. A politician, 15 years of national, prominence in terms of even cabinet and water. He's been an assistant minister for water, energy, and all of those. So he actually challenged Mwai Kibaki in his own Odhaya, constituency, Karima Ward. And actually, you know, he won actually. So that kind of thing. So you are seeing somebody who is, you know, waiting, you know, to bolt out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Why was Mwangi Kiunjuri sacked?
Well, you could say it's ordinary organization of government.
No, that one you're not being honest with.
I'm saying you
Yes.
could say. I
Okay.
didn't say that's the reason. You
But
could
it's
say
the fact
so.
that you've
and
said
there are
both.
people who are saying so.
Yes.
And you could also say he was inefficient. But that would be really not being honest. Because before you reach Mwangi Kiunjuri, in terms of those who are not capable, you will have crashed about 4 or 5 ministers.
Okay.
You would even have removed those caught in this idea of theft. People under whose watch billions of Kenya shillings have been lost. So before you reach Mwangi, if it was
About inefficiency.
yes, or mismanagement and so on and so forth, being inept, then you would have reached him number 6, 7, 8, number 10 there. So it can't be because of those things.
Okay.
Therefore, we are left with only one thing. He was sacked because of politics. Uhuru Kenyatta is playing politics. And the whole speech, the whole address was about Uhuru Kenyatta coming out to do exactly what he needed to do. Because if he didn't do what he has done today, and I expect him to do a lot more than this, then with the lame duck stuff surrounding him, people are even going to spit on his face.
Okay.
He had to move, especially Mount Kenya region. And he has done that. He has used the stick and the carrot.
Okay.
He has appeased his people, but he has also shown them that if I need to hit you, I'll hit you.
Okay.
Take care.
But I would ask, how much of achievement has he brought in by sacking Mwangi Kiunjuri? But let me hear from the gentleman also. Richard,
You see,
same question.
Thank you.
Yes.
For me, I look at two things. You have to analyze President Uhuru's 2 speeches. The one which was at Jamhuri Park, and there was another one which was held somewhere else, where he actually personally warned Mwangi Kiunjuri. And you remember, it was about the maize. Right, you know, Kenyans, we have very short memories. What was that story about?
Payment of people before
Individuals
payment
had
of
gone
farmers.
and brought in maize and sold it to National Cereals and Produce Board, and after that they paid themselves billions of shillings and walked away with it. And when Kiunjuri was asked to explain what actually happened, and remember that time is when you had a lot of noise in the North Rift, because the farmers were saying, you remember that is a story where senators went there, the Murkomens
even
were
had a
being
camp,
attacked
yes.
by those Wazis. That is actually what the whole issue was about. And the way I was looking at it as a member of parliament is that Kiunjuri did not come out with a very clear reason why something like that happened. The only place where I vindicate him is that he had just come into
Yes,
that
in
ministry.
January of 2018.
Yes, and he
yes.
would never have understood the power barons and the game plans and what has been going on in that ministry to begin with. Remember the same issue with fertilizer. I mean, fertilizer was being bought by the government, it was being given to traders, the traders were paying certain individuals, I mean, there was a whole mess about it. But number 2, Kiunjuri made a decision which I believe he either knew or he may not have known. And the decision was he's going to go on and toe the line of the deputy president because he believed, one, that President Uhuru and his team had actually promised the Rift Valley community that they were going to go out and support William Ruto for the next presidency, and therefore Ruto was entitled to receive the support of Central Kenya. Now, when Kiunjuri did that, I believe he did it in good faith. But at the same time, the political animal that is in there is that the guy has been positioning himself to be William Ruto's running mate. In other words, if William Ruto decided tomorrow that he wanted to pick somebody from Central,
He would pick
Kiunjuri.
Okay.
If he didn't pick him, then he would have Kiunjuri being in his government as a very strong individual and a big player.
Okay.
Lastly,
Okay.
Kiunjuri is very much aware. In Central, there's a problem that we never discuss in public political discussions here. You have the diaspora of the Kikuyu community. That is, the diaspora means the guys who are in Laikipia, the guys who are in Nakuru, and the guys who are in Molo. And they have always been having this issue of Nyahururu, of saying, you know, we have always been considered to be from Central, and everything that is always given is given to the people of Kiambu, Nyeri, and Murang'a, and the other areas. But us who are in the diaspora, like in Nakuru, we've never got a minister. As in Laikipia, that is actually how Kiunjuri ended up being a minister in Uhuru's government.
Okay.
Uhuru was actually quelling or dispelling the discontent
from that region.
From that region.
All right. Nelson, on this, what was the reason according to you?
First of all, listening to my colleague, Onyonka, I get the impression that he seems to suggest that Kiunjuri was fired because of being on the side of the deputy president politically. It's a very dangerous statement. First, because what Onyonka is trying to do is to disassociate the president from the deputy president. Something that, you know, to say that in the cabinet now we have two factions. One that is allied to the deputy president, that is on the firing squad.
Something that is not true.
No.
It's not true.
That is on
That's
the
not the
firing
case.
squad. I just want us to focus on
That's
exactly
not the case right now.
why. So it is nothing to do with it. It is nothing. That is what I'm saying. It will be very unfortunate if that is what the statement is, because no one seems to have looked then at his performance as a minister, and he must have been set to fail purposely because he was now being associated with the deputy president, which is very unfortunate. I will say this.
You make it sound like I'm a Jubilee MP. I'm not a Jubilee MP.
Listening, where I saw that Kiunjuri was being set to fail is when the president addressed him in Jamhuri.
At Jamhuri, during the show.
I knew now it was a matter of when, not if.
Okay.
And Kiunjuri was prepared. He saw this coming. It is not because of, you know, when you say someone has failed in a ministry, it is collective. When you're in cabinet, it is collective. Whether it is milk, it is coffee, it is a collective responsibility of the cabinet. Not a single...
Mheshimiwa, that was just one theory of maybe the reason why he was fired. It's not concrete. I think Haman is the one who advanced it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So there are so many other factors that we all are guessing. We really don't
what
know.
What would be the factor according to you?
I will very
You don't want to
hesitantly.
say.
No,
You don't want to
I will,
say.
but very hesitantly agree with the Nyonka. It is largely politics.
Largely politics, because of the side. Okay, so
and I'll get to that later.
Okay,
It's
largely
discussion. Yeah.
politics. I'd like to play a soundbite from President Uhuru Kenyatta, if I would have it, Rosalia, of what he said when that question was asked to him.
No, the ones I haven't mentioned are because they are either in place. If they are not in place, then, so be it. Kenya moves on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Look at the body language of the president. And the ones who have been mentioned, and if the others have not been mentioned, they're in place. The ones who've been mentioned are in place.
It
The ones who've
reminds me
not.
of Moyan.
But
So be it.
Ken,
I mean,
Ken,
look at the body
Ken,
language.
Ken,
You remember Moyans, I thought, Professor kama yako haiko.
Moy said that.
Ken, but again, the truth is, sometimes I think we try and moralize politics so much. When it's
What do you mean we try and moralize
when
politics?
it's a political appointment,
Yes.
you expect politics to play with it.
Yes.
There are certain rules you do not go beyond. It's a political appointment. All right, and that is why you notice many people in the House today, we are now clamoring, saying, let us have members of parliament going to serve in the cabinet. The reason is, I'll give you a small example. During the coalition government, and I was a deputy minister for foreign affairs, and at that time, my minister was Moses Wetangula. He was not in office. And I was holding brief on the South Sudanese matter. And the question was, should South Sudan hold a referendum, or should they continue surviving as a Sudanese state? And a lot of people in the office of the president were saying, let them stay, because that was the position John Garang had. Yeah. But Fruita Mangu was the PS, and a few people around the president came and told me, go and make sure you explain to the president that the people of South Sudan actually want to secede.
Okay.
And I was able to sit with Mzee Kibaki, and he was a huge man in terms of the brain and his ability and his body language. I was able to actually slowly make my case, and he kind of looked at me and said, is that the position you think we as a government should take? And I said, yes, sir. And then he told me, that's not your personal opinion. I said, no, it is not. It is an opinion that the ministry and the senior officers in the ministry hold this position.
Okay.
Now, under the current circumstances, everybody is appointed at the mercy of Uhuru. So, to me, the decision Uhuru took, if you are not going to please Uhuru, then be ready to be fired. And I'm saying that with a clean heart. I mean, Kiunjuri was with me in Parliament. He's a great man. He's made his, he's made his name. He's a man who's respected in central and other parts of Kenya. But the truth is, I do believe if your president who appointed you tells you, don't do this and that and that. And for me, as an outsider or out of Jubilee, you see when President Uhuru is saying, can you people stop making these tanga-tanga trips between Kielewekes and whatnot, and between all these two groups of Jubilee. When the president is saying, can you people slow down, let us try and figure out whether we can fix.
They should have done that.
They should have done that.
Okay, Isaac, you weigh in on this because you're rather quiet on this.
No, I'm just listening to the explanations of the aspiring Minister for Foreign Affairs. Talk, because he says that when you are deputy, you are aspiring to go. Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate that Richard Onyonka was never confirmed the Minister of Foreign Affairs when Moses Wetangula was caught up in the scandals of Tokyo and what have you. But then maybe it's futuristic now that we are talking about BBI and the ministers may be returned to Parliament. They may want to look at the experience and expertise. But I'm looking at it from the point of view that we are living in very interesting times, because the BBI is a combination of the experience of opposition and the experience of government. That's quite legal, if we were to speak matters politics. And William Ruto must do justice to the hustler nation by ensuring that he also argues a strong case that there should be a succession. Because certainly these politics are around age factor, about name recognition, and also about, power in terms of money and whatever. That is what it's all about. And in fact, I would hasten to say, if BBI then is supposed to bring people together, it needs statesmen. It needs people who rise beyond the political contestations of 2022. And for a very long time, I actually believed that was going to be the case. But now I'm seeing it's some form of subterfuge, because in every political contest, there is a winner and there's a loser. Yes. So if you looked at the Daily Nation's page yesterday, I think, or the Standard, sorry, you could see it was William Ruto on one side, a big face of William Ruto, and Uhuru and Raila on the other. And so the big question would be, who are the political casualties? Look at the people who have been appointed today in cabinet. Certainly, Mwangi Kiunjuri, Mutahi Kagwe, the former senator for Nyeri, and credit would be given to him. He's the one who actually made our internet to be cheap by bringing the fiber, all the way. You must give credit to him on that one. He comes in, and I see him as somebody who is a son-in-law of Michuki. And Michuki's empire is kind of crumbling. Mwangi Kiunjuri was seen to be representing the larger Nyeri interest in Laikipia. And I spent a whole time last week on Tuesday in his constituency actually trying to see what is happening around there. And you can see now, President Kibaki was actually endorsed by Michuki. Michuki is the one who made this one pronouncement that confirmed or conferred the leadership of Mount Kenya, or rather Kikuyu people, to Kibaki. To Uhuru, sorry. So you can see all of this. So you are looking at loyalty also, because Mutahi Kagwe, remember, was the MC in the Sagana meeting, yes. And there was also a very nice formation of former members of parliament who now allied themselves to President Uhuru, when the current members of parliament were seen to be more, allied to William Ruto. So you can see now that kind of power play. And I think the president is saying in his appointments that I'm here to stay, that I am not going anywhere. That you who are thinking that you are going to, occupy big positions under William Ruto's government, then you are in for a rude shock, because I'm going nowhere. In fact, I think he's said that many times. The big question would remain is whether he's coming back as prime minister, because David Murathe, when he speaks, he's still the de facto vice chair of Jubilee Party. But also at the same time, when you go to the ground, you find the masses are very much with William Ruto. They are saying that we need to honor the promise. I mean, I have spent time with them, and I'm not just saying out of conjecture. And you can see the fervor with which they would want to, to support William Ruto. So we are actually going for a confrontation. And by the way, also in the same breath, you cannot dismiss the influence of Uhuru Kenyatta on the ground. That is the contradiction of this politics. You cannot quite say that he will not have to, because when I hear my people, they're saying, we are waiting to hear what he will say.
What does that mean?
Yeah, it's very, but they are saying, for us, and particularly when they think of William Ruto versus Raila Odinga, they automatically say they want to support William Ruto.
Well, because of the promise? Because you said
because of the promise. But also, remember, they have voted for William Ruto in the sense that he has been the running mate of Uhuru Kenyatta twice. So they are accustomed to him being, and they are even socialized that way.
Okay.
So you cannot really, you know.
I'd like to discuss this further, but I have to take a short break. Just 2 minutes break. Then when I come back, we conclude on Mwangi Kiunjuri because we have a lot to talk about, including the BBI. Right. Let's take a break. We'll be back.
Yeah, we give thanks like we really supposed. We have to give thanks like we really supposed to be thankful.
Every Thursday evening, it's Lit 360.
Look around, I don't see you from. Everybody's having the time of their life.
Here at Lit 360, we put the pop in pop culture. And to live up to that hype, take a look at this.
See them, never come back again, no. All the pretty girl, let you wine, no. See that steak, you give you banana. Smile on, I say oh nana. With that body, shiny tangana. Leave me alone. If you can keep up with the Jones, I'd rather climb Bali, don't be coming to my zone.
God's sunshine is shining. Take a step, you're the best, and you know you're gonna prosper.
Is this a Nigerian dish that we're cooking?
No, well, this is not a Nigerian dish. This is an MKO's dish. I taught myself how to cook.
As always, you know we are bringing the heat by bringing you the best in fashion, food, music, and of course some fun. This is Lit 360, and it's about to go down.
Wewe ni mbaya, umenidanganya. Wewe ni mbaya, umenidanganya. Mbona ukanicheka, mbona ukanicheza.
Hayo unaoniambia wewe, mimi naona yananichanganya sasa.
Kwa hivyo uniamini?
Mimi sijui niamini lipi na niamini nani.
Sawa, ushahidi ndio hapa.
Sonia yampenda Jabali kiasi.
Yale wayaita mapenzi, ule wake ni wivu. Sasa mambo ya kumpenda Jabali na kumchukia huyu Fadhili yaingilia na upi? Kwa sababu mambo mawili tofauti.
Hili shamba litauzwa. Nisipoliuza mimi, mtu mwingine atalinunua na huyo mtu mwingine pia atakuja kufurusha. Mbona nyinyi hamsikii maneno nikiwaambia?
Hawa kinajiwe wamekwambia nini haswa kimekufanya uje unikosee mimi adabu hapa?
Mzazi asimtakia mema mwanae si mzazi mwema.
With Lipa na M-Pesa, you get more.
Lipa na M-Pesa.
Every 100 shillings spent on Lipa na M-Pesa earns you an entry into the draw. Do more with Lipa na M-Pesa.
Ukifungua mwaka na hasira hivi, si mwaka mzima utakuwa na hasira.
Hata mimi natafuta hiyo kifunguo, nifungue mwaka vile unataka sasa.
Hata kama class 8 sikupata first grade, haimaanishi sijui kama nyama iko na vitamin.
Spaghetti, mkate, mama, madazi. Umemaliza? Basi pada huko juu ukachukue goza witiwe dokafue.
Mimi nifulie awiti mimi.
Sasa inafaa tuongee tu vile tunza make ma junior.
Ati what? Watoto?
Na ngoja nini?
Right, welcome back to Sidebar. Isaac Maura, Nelson Koech, Richard Onyonka, and of course Professor Herman Manyora join me tonight on our first show of the year. And we're discussing the sacking of Mwangi Kiunjuri from the cabinet. By the way, he becomes the second cabinet secretary to be removed from the cabinet by the president after Achesa.
Achesa.
So we're discussing that, and we'd like to discuss on the BBI and the extended mandate of the task force also, but I'd like to conclude on this, and I think Onyonki, you're speaking with this, but even as we conclude on Kiunjuri's sacking,
yes.
What happens to him? What will he do? Because he promised the president a really hard time. He said, I'll be cool if you're cool, but I have known a lot of things. If you frustrate me, I'll be forced to talk. In fact, he promised that the year is still long, it's just January. He can have something to say every single day to the end of the year.
I will tell you.
I will wish to advise him after he has.
Yes.
I would have wished you advise him, then I just agree or disagree.
Okay.
For me, I would like to make a very humble request to my brother Kiunjuri. Politics is a very interesting game. It's most of the time is the art of the possible, and I am completely immoral about politics. The reality is, Kiunjuri can be talking and saying, I'm set and I'm ready to go and I'm going to hit it back at Uhuru and all that. And you may be shocked that when we move towards 2022, Kiunjuri might actually be working with Uhuru and saying, Mheshimiwa Rais, vile tulikuwa tunazungumza, tafadhali, watu wa Laikipia wanasema ni wewe na utawendi utatuambia mahali tunaenda. Number two, I think when I listened to what he said, if I was him, I would have finished his statement on the first paragraph. I thank the president for having given me an opportunity.
But he was angry. He was angry and disappointed.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It looks like in Kenya today, everybody's angry. And this is a problem with the Mount Kenya political leaders.
But you've just been sacked from the cabinet.
No. When you are a substantive leader and your boss fires you, the dignity of that office requires that you actually thank the one who gave you that job. Which he did. Yes. And he should have stopped there. Now, everything else was a threat.
To the president.
Yes, and somehow all the people, and by the way, I'm not Uhuru's lucky boy, or I'm not a guy who's saying how Uhuru is the greatest president. I've said so many things that Uhuru has messed in this country. But Mwaura, Uhuru is the president of Kenya. And you people in Central think he's an MCA. And all of you talk like Uhuru is just some ramshackle boy who hangs out in State House and sits there and comes out and makes a statement which doesn't. Uhuru has professional thinkers, people who advise him. Uhuru has a legacy to hold, and you people are refusing to give him that legacy. That is how we see it.
Why are you directing this to Isaac?
No, I'm talking about. Ken, no. You're my brother, you know. I'm actually. I can point to anyone. I'm talking about.
You know, he's our in-law also. Eh?
Yes, I'm talking about the Central Kenya political class.
Okay.
Has decided they want to go without Uhuru, and as far as they are concerned, they'd rather put him in the sewage and live in there. And I'm telling them. Transitional politics has incredible opportunities for other people.
Okay.
But it can also give you an opportunity if you play your cards right.
So that's what you would advise Kiunjuri?
Yes. I would advise Kiunjuri is to take a break. Let him, for example, go on holiday for a month or two.
Think straight.
Rethink his
All right, I'm coming to you,
before you go to because he's my senior.
Yeah.
Well, I said initially that Kiunjuri was actually set to fail from the onset. And if you want to know that,
and he swallowed the bait. That's what you're saying.
Cooperatives.
You're saying Kiunjuri swallowed the bait.
Yes. Cooperatives were moved from him. Marketing was with Munya. Value addition was with Munya. Today, the president has taken back all those with Munya to the Ministry of Agriculture. So honestly, how did you expect Kiunjuri
and when
to perform?
he came in for devolution, right?
Yes.
And straight devolution was split and given some functions to Eugene. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
So how did you expect Kiunjuri to perform with a cannibalized ministry?
He's given the lesser the responsibility, the higher your chances of performing.
The lesser the finance. You must look at the budget of what Kiunjuri was operating on.
My brother, running a ministry is about the money.
All these things is just about politics. If someone wants to aid you to perform in a ministry, they will. There was no goodwill. It was a marked person. It was not going to deliver.
Let me ask you, if I go to Prof, how comes you're so realistic and saw this and Mwangi Kiunjuri never saw it?
He saw it.
Then why was he sticking around?
Of course, like Mwaura said, Kiunjuri knew
he was harvesting the spoils.
He's a politician, okay?
What a bad decision for politicians.
They hunted him. They stood him down
But
from
what
contesting.
a bad decision for politicians.
It is not a bad
You're
decision.
set to
Let
fail.
me tell you,
You're set to
you
fail.
never know how this is going to turn out. It could be actually his political Waterloo.
Okay, let me listen to Prof now.
I said I will advise Mike Kiunjuri. He's a friend of mine. My advice to him is don't dare the president. If he says bring it on, you think you have things to talk about the president. For every 1 kilo of stuff you bring against the president, he'll have 10. Bring a ton to bear on you.
Okay.
This is the head of state. The instruments at his disposal.
Yes.
Anything you have against him, you can clean it up. Look at Trump. Just look at Trump, and that is America. Yeah. Look at how much the White House, the infrastructure of presidency, is helping Trump to clear things that are really obviously bad and wrong. But they can use detergent and clean them. But for you, you don't have the same. So if the president wants to descend on you, let's just agree that you'll be crushed. So my advice to him is, you are a very promising politician. You have a great future.
Bid your time.
And if you want to understand, what I'm saying is you have to understand today's statement from the president. The president was playing politics directed at Mount Kenya. Use the stick and the carrot. He's sending a message to Mount Kenya leaders. If you continue playing with me, then you don't know who I am. I can hit you and I can crush you. And I want to say this. I said it on Monday on the AM Live. There are going to be casualties. Yes. It is becoming ugly and there are going to be casualties. Take that to the bank, there will be casualties. Secondly, he's robbing, he's cutting sail from their, wind from their sail. The things they have been talking about milk, about coffee, about tea, you see, he's dealing with them. He has made policy and administrative moves, really, including money and so on and so forth. He has put Munya there. Like Koech says, he has enlarged and empowered that ministry. And things are going to happen on the ground. Soon these MPs will have nothing to say except say William Ruto. And I'm telling you, Uhuru's strategy is first to deal with the leaders. Once he has cleared with them, and he began at Sagana by addressing himself to the ground. Right now, you're right, he's still hostile, but give it 6 months. My advice to these young politicians, some of them are fairly young, is look at Uhuru carefully and well and properly.
You're actually scaring them.
I'm not scaring them.
No,
I'm just
that sounds like a warning, you know?
It's not a warning.
No, it's
I'm
not.
an old man. I'm
it is not
young
founded in
politicians.
good
No.
faith.
Let me tell you, this is Africa and this is Kenya.
So we are not building bridges.
I'm saying bridges will be built and they will be destroyed. This is politics. To the extent that Uhuru has moved into central Kenya, you expect to find things moving.
Okay.
On the ground.
All right. Unless any one of you has something to add on Mwangi Kiunjuri.
I think let me say this. When I moved out of ODM, people asking me, what do you have up your sleeves to discuss about the people? And I became a very popular phenomenon in Kikuyu land. Same case to Onyango when he was Secretary General of TNA and he moved the other side. So most of those things are usually for posturing. Because if you have skeletons, you can't just also disclose. Because you saw how the judiciary was thrown into submission about them being corrupt. I mean, through social media and what have you, until Maraga came out, speaking more than once. Now, what I'm trying to say is this: Mwangi Kiunjuri has been given the fireball now to go and do what he has always wanted to be. That is to contest maybe with Uhuru Kenyatta for the leadership of Mount Kenya region. Let's see how far he can go. Let's see how far he can sustain himself, because it's going to be rough. In fact, my thinking is that the Tanga side and the sympathizers in central Kenya, Rift Valley and what have you, these people who we can call are still in political diapers, if I can say so, must pay their price. You remember what I said earlier on about the combination of the experience of the oppositionism and government? Must pay their price and must actually earn it, because power is never given. And it is going to be very, very tough, because you are seeing a status quo and the threat to diminish that and to say that you are done and you are dusted. Part of the reason and why, Richard Onyonka, I want to address you particularly, people in Central Kenya, people in Central Kenya were faithful. They are used to the fact that now William Ruto was supposed to take over. So they were preparing themselves psychologically. Politics is a matter of ambition. People now hang around William Ruto because he was the next big thing, you know. So they were moving away. And they were saying, now, Uhuru, we are kind of done with you, and now we are moving. So it's a shocker, because now Uhuru is coming back and saying, siendi mahali popote, you know. So it's going to be...
Is that the reason, Isaac?
No, I can assure you. I can assure you. My brother Maura. I can assure you. Kindly listen to me. I can assure you that is the point.
Maura.
Believe you me today. Believe you me today. The people who used to call Mwangi Kiunjuri are going to reduce by dint of the fact that he's no longer in cabinet. Yeah. Echesa was complaining that he no longer receives calls. So people try to imagine. So the question now, that the big elephant in the room, and I think, Richard, that's where you're coming to, is that if in the event whoever pronounced that Ruto is yangu kumi na yake kumi comes back and says, no, I have worked with this gentleman and I no longer think he is the best person for your interest, what will be the result? That is the question out there.
I have a completely different analysis of that matter. My brother, let me tell you where we are. Central is shocked that the man who has been demonized for the last 60 years, his father plus him, is now the one who's actually literally sleeping with the president's son, who is Uhuru. Central is shocked that Uhuru is saying, and this is what Anne Waiguru spoke when we were in Kisii. She said, we can't have two communities governing Kenya. It is not tenable. It is not acceptable. So start preparing yourselves that we're going to open up.
This country is a democracy.
Hold on. Yes, if it is a democracy, then don't complain. In other words, what I'm looking at, my brother, is this. Yes, William Ruto has an entitlement only to Central. You people are the ones who promised him.
No, he even said he's not entitled. He said
no, but that is the argument he's making.
Yes, he said that.
Yes, that is the argument Maura is making. He's saying...
But people himself has said no one owes him anything.
Hold on, let me finish, then you come. Yes. What I'm saying is very simple. For so many years in this country, we love playing fake politics. The reality is, for the first time, Uhuru is actually playing real politics. He's saying, my father was a president, we handed it over to Moi from the Kalenjin community, handed it over to Kibaki from the Kikuyu community, took it back to me, who's from the Kikuyu community. Now, we are now going back to the same story of taking it back to the Kalenjin community. You have 42 communities in this country. What Uhuru is saying is this: can you guys slow down? We try and look for a framework, and maybe this BI thing might be the one which may help us. Because the reality is, Maura, as Central guys are so upset and unhappy that William Ruto might be double-crossed by the Kikuyu community. For us, we don't care.
But even
because for us, we also want to be president of Kenya.
But still,
that was an agreement between two communities.
Yes.
That's where we are. If you understand that, now we can move forward.
No, I think I beg to differ, and allow me to differ on this one, because Jubilee Party, as it were then, not the dead horse that it is now, because it's actually, for all practical purposes, dead, because it was predicated. Tuko Pamoja was more about the handshake between Uhuru and Ruto.
Yes.
So when the president was speaking, he was speaking as the president of the Jubilee Party, party leader, and also the president of Kenya.
No.
Because Jubilee...
He was talking about Jubilee.
Just listen. The Jubilee was the party in power. So it was supposed to be in power at least for 20 years. You get the point?
Why?
And
why?
Because
that would be undemocratic.
No. Political powers are aspirational. I mean, parties
then
have
we
been
don't
in
need
power.
we don't need term limits.
Parties are no. I mean, if Uhuru has done 10 years and Ruto comes and does 10 years, I mean, this is not one and the same person. It's the same party.
No.
And
what you are saying,
and you know, Richard,
Maura,
what we are supposed to do is to build. Just listen. Is to build political parties that build individuals
so that they can
who are able to implement the ideas of the party within government.
And the parties can rule forever.
Kindly.
Even it be.
Kindly. Because political parties are supposed to actually acquire power through legal means. So what is my point here? The issue is that political parties are predicated on personal chemistry. It's about communities agreeing. It's about interest. That kind of understanding seem somehow to have collapsed between the two protagonists. Somehow I cannot confirm fully dead, but somehow it appears for all intents and purposes that between Uhuru and Ruto, things are no longer the way they used to wear the same shirt, the same tie and make announcements. Like even these press conference would have been done by the two of them. So that has changed. Now, you are right on one thing, Richard, that for a very long time, Raila Odinga has been demonized. I tried selling him for 10 years.
You couldn't manage.
I became a casualty.
You couldn't
now, now that is now the problem, because the moment
and yet the guy is actually a good guy.
The moment people saw Uhuru cutting cake and dancing, in Mombasa with Raila Odinga, that shock has them, because they knew this is Kimondo. And in fact, let me tell you, when we were moving around, Nelson, and you can confirm this, we were trying to speak these policies that Ken Mijungu wants us to speak about and we love about our country, Professor. But then people are telling us, useme tu Raila Bondo, Uhuru State House. Now, na kama Raila taingia, mutavaa vinyasa. Those kind of nonsense. So that is now the thinking of the masses. And so they cannot therefore fathom how these two came together. They came together, yes. That even recently, your own headline in Daily Nation was having the inner circles of Uhuru Kenyatta. And who are there? We had Joseph Kenywa.
That's August of last year.
Yeah. Yes. We had Kibicho. And then who is the other person? Raila Odinga.
The inner circle.
The inner circle.
Okay.
What I want to say, Ken, is that yes. I hear a lot of discussion here around the deputy president, and people seem to be, clapping. I have this feeling that Onyonka is saying where he is, he should be fixed and all this. But let me tell you, this is the danger.
No.
We should see beyond the office of the deputy president and William Ruto. Tomorrow, Onyonka might be the president of this country. Do you really want to be disrespected by junior civil servants when you are in that position? There has to be a way. And you cannot tell us, come out and say, now we want to build bridges, yet at the same time, you're disputing people in government who supposedly are associated with the deputy president. It is very unfortunate. Okay. So and this generation must stand up and say that. This constitution had the wisdom of having a president and a deputy president elected because they knew we will have a dysfunctional government in an event that there is a problem like what we have at the moment, where the president cannot even contain his own deputy. We have a problem. And then you want to tell me today, you want to have a prime minister and a deputy prime minister, we will have a crisis in this country.
But you see the difference will be, the difference will be if we do that, if we introduce the prime minister and the deputy president, they'll be appointed, the prime minister will be appointed by the president. Would it be better for you if the president was in a position to dismiss the deputy president, especially in a working relationship that is so sour like this?
So would it be better? Because like I said, right now, the president doesn't seem to manage his deputy. We have a problem. No one wants to listen. He's being insubordinated by very junior people. And this is a relationship where you cannot send him to go.
Yes.
So
it would have been better for the president.
Let's go for parliamentary. But the problem is, will Maura accept?
Will not.
Central government will not accept. So we have a problem. And that is now where we'll have a problem in BBI.
For 2 seconds, I want to tell
Professor is very quiet.
He's going to speak.
I want to tell my brother Nelson, I can tell you, I am not wishing William Ruto any ill will.
Excellent.
I've worked with him.
No, I didn't say you as a person. I'm just saying,
I highly respect the guy. I've said he's one of the brightest people I've ever worked with. He has his own shortfalls like all of us politicians. But what I'm saying, you remember this year, Professor Manyora, if you remember, Donald Trump wanted to fire Pence.
Mike Pence, yes.
Mike Pence, his vice president. In fact, they were saying in the coming elections, for Trump to continue, he may have to consider getting another candidate. Why? Because Pence wasn't coming out clearly and defending Trump because, Pence is into this religious thing and there were moral issues.
That's actually how he got the ticket.
That's how he got the ticket because they were dealing with the Christian Southerners who vote for the Republicans. So Trump was thinking of firing Pence. That's in America. If in Africa, you are a president like Uhuru has been, I don't think Uhuru had a problem with William Ruto when he went to have the handshake with Raila. In fact, one of the issues that we raised during our early days when I was engaging myself with the VP was, take over this thing, be part of it. Even if we go parliamentary or we do whatever, it will be beneficial to Kenyans. Kenyans will give you the credit And therefore, when we reach a time when we are going to go for the elections, we can explain why you agreed for this to come through.
Okay.
And what has happened? Ever since the discussions of BBI started, William Ruto has been doing the opposite when Uhuru is at the opposite. That's what the problem is.
I need to take a break, Prof, briefly. Yes.
Fine. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I just wanted to help him understand why things are happening to Ruto and around Ruto, the DP. It is simply this, that when the handshake was put into place and the whole machinery was arraigned against him, the fellows behind the handshake underestimated Ruto's abilities. So he has frustrated them in terms of his unmanageability. Yeah. So, and for that reason I have said, we expect to see this thing getting more ugly.
Okay.
Uglier by the day. Because William Ruto is not a man you will put in your hand and squeeze. They thought they would do it. They realized this is a very difficult man. It's too tough for them. And therefore you will continue seeing this until we get to a point, my friend, I think you talked to him, until we get to a point, and in my view we are long past that point, where he will have to choose, clearly, whether to join them, like you say, or to quit government.
Yes, and being the opposition.
I can tell you he will not quit this government. Authoritatively say he will not.
In my
it's part and parcel
of the government. All right, a day is a long time in Kenyan politics. Gentlemen, time for our last break, I hope. When we come back, I'd like to go straight to issues of BBI, because in Kisii, there was quite some talk. And even just leaving what was said in Kisii, my interest is what was said out of the meeting that happened in Kisii. So that's what I'd like to tackle next. Let's take a break on Sidebar. We'll be back.
Eldoret Technical Training Institute. Registration for January, May and September 2020 intakes is ongoing. Apply now. Eldoret Technical Training Institute. Growing reputation.
Looking to enjoy sumptuous meals and drinks at affordable rates? Welcome to Nasco's. Our diverse menu gives you a variety to choose from. Visit us at Veteran House 4th floor, Moi Avenue, or along Mombasa Road at the Nation Printing Press Center. We offer outside catering service and do home and office deliveries. For inquiries or to place an order, call 0700-613-902 or email info@nascos.co.ke. Nation Staff Consumer Society Limited. Enjoy our hospitality.
Ukifungua mwaka na hasira hivi, si mwaka mzima utakuwa na hasira.
Hata mimi natafuta hiyo kifunguo, nifungue mwaka vile unataka sasa.
Hata kama class 8 sikupata first grade, haimaanishi sijui kama nyama iko na vitamin.
Spaghetti, mkate, mama, mandazi. Umemaliza? Basi pada huko juu ukachukue goza witu wewe ukafue.
Nifulie awidi mimi.
Sasa inafaa tuongee tu vile tunza Mijungu.
Ati what? Watoto?
Nangoja nini?
With Lipa na M-Pesa, you get more.
Lipa na M-Pesa.
Every 100 shillings spent on Lipa na M-Pesa earns you an entry into the draw. Do more with Lipa na M-Pesa.
My whole objective in the remaining part of my term is to unify Kenyans. I find it unfortunate that in the process of unifying Kenyans, people feel like they're being left out. Let us not allow competitive politics, which is always what ruins our country, right, to get in the way of dealing with real issues that Kenyans are concerned about.
Gentlemen, I've heard several leaders of your caliber talk about no real unity coming out of the building bridges. On one end, President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga seem to be very strong and solid on building bridges. But on the other end, especially the faction that supports Deputy President William Ruto, and they're really unhappy. They think they're being mistreated. They talk about how would we be building bridges when this is still happening? How comes this side is isolated and all? And what you mirrored to, the fact that a deputy president will not have peace in his own country, and we'll be talking about insubordination, you know, it's a huge thing in this country. So looking at what the president said today and talking about building bridges and the hope that he had when this started is even believable, because the opinion is divided whether the country is really on that path or not. Let me begin with Prof.
I think the simple way of understanding this thing is just look at BBI. This is politics. I've argued that BBI is a political infrastructure to enable Uhuru and Raila do certain things. If you are to believe them on the steps of Harambee House, then they are thinking about the bigger good of this country. They are addressing some of the issues Richard is talking about. And there's a twin problem in this country, which Uhuru and Raila would want to address. This has been the problem of one community feeling like they are entitled. So there's this sense of entitlement from one community, and the other community feeling betrayed and persecuted throughout our history. So unless you address this, you will never address the politics of this country, and therefore you never even mount development. So if we believe Uhuru, that's what they want to do. Now, if they are going to address this big problem, they need political power. And therefore BBI, other than addressing the things it is talking about, other than addressing the things that are contained in that report and others that will come after phase 2, is also a political infrastructure that will ensure that two get political power to be able to implement that. Okay. Can we imagine a situation where they are coming up with all these big earth-shaking things that they want to do in this country, and then you hand power to William Ruto?
I want to ask him a question before I come to you.
Will he really be the one under whose watch will bring those fundamental changes in this country?
What would the problem be? What would that problem be if William Ruto would be the one they would midwife it, but he would be the one to implement it? What would be the problem?
It is very difficult for this kind of changes we are talking about to be implemented by people other than these two who have come up with them. Because in the process of moving towards that implementation, you are going to offend a few people.
Okay.
You are going to injure a few people.
Okay.
You are going to stop one or two people from going to State House, because then how does he become part of that team that moves towards stopping from being president?
But he should have not been left out to begin with. But my question is, I want to finish with him, then I come to you.
That's the point I want to come to.
How comes this realization? When Uhuru Kenyatta was being elected in 2013, there was the talk of being the son of a former president. It came up, right? There was the talk of from Kikuyu to Kikuyu. It came up. So how comes right now in 2019, 2018, when the BBI began, how comes that's the time Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga realizes that two communities cannot be leading this country?
As we move towards 2012, the election was supposed to have taken place in 2012, except now that interpretation of the Constitution, the new Constitution.
Yes.
As we move towards 2012, there was a strong team of Kikuyu led by the likes of Mijungu. Congratulations on his birthday. I think it's just around the corner. 100 years.
How old is he now?
100 years. People like including the SKs and Joe and Jules.
Even Jenga Karuna.
Very powerful Kikuyus who are selling this narrative to their community, that in order for us to enjoy peace, and they were borrowing from what has happened in other countries like Ghana, where you have one populous community. It is always in their interest to be nice to the others because they have a head start in terms of business and education and everything else. Let's enjoy what this country has to offer in terms of business and other things, but that will not happen if we are holding political power. It is better to give all this political power, just like Americans decided
to make Obama
in the 21st century. It was no longer tenable for them to continue moving. They had to give this president to a woman or a black person. No, they give it a black person. And now these Skin and Jonjos were saying, it is in our interest as a community to leave this thing and give it to another community. And the most deserving community, according to them, was the Luo community through Raila Odinga. They failed. But the main reason why they failed, and remember even the Mudavadi Madimon thing, it was real. In the same narrative.
Yes.
They failed, it failed to materialize because of the ICC.
Okay.
If the ICC wasn't around,
it would have worked.
the Raila factor would have worked or Mudavadi would have become president. This is a realization. As early, in fact, it cost Raila the president. In 2011, if you told any serious Kenyan that Kibaki would be succeeded by Kikuyu, I remember somebody almost punched me in the senior common our club. This guy is very close to Raila. And I was telling you people, that's the mistake you are making. Assume there's going to be a very tough Kikuyu rally. Oh, nobody believed it. So it's still there. It's a narrative that really makes a lot of sense and is in the interest of the country and even the community safe. Yeah.
Thank you, Prof. I think your analysis is perfect. Ken,
I understand.
Ken,
yes.
This is really what I feel some Kenyans want to be, the story that needs to be told. We have absolutely no problem with William Ruto succeeding Uhuru. We are expecting that because what happened in 2002, 2007, 2013 cannot continue happening. And for us in these communities, when you go to the outside communities, leave Central. When you go to the other, go to Coast. Uhuru is extremely popular. Uhuru is popular in Kisii. Uhuru is popular in Nyanza. Uhuru is popular in Western with Raila. Why? Because the public who are affected by this issue of the frequent tribal sectarian wars because of either failed elections or because of hoarding of power, these two individuals have come and they have said, yes, we know we have a problem. We have stolen elections. We know that we have been employing only our relatives and friends. We need inclusivity to be part of us. There's a problem about Ndugu Commission, which we never looked at. People's land has always been misappropriated. And all these things. That is why BBI, even when there is alternative narrative, which comes from the Deputy President's side, I would really have wished. Hold on.
There's no alternative narrative.
No,
I think the DP is supporting the BBI.
Hold on. What I would have wished, and up to now I wish for it, that the Deputy President can come to those rallies. Be with me. Be with us.
Why do we need
can come to meetings? That's another question you can ask, then we can answer. Can come to the meetings because Bomas, it's pole. Bomas, when you left from Bomas, what did you say? What did the president say? Take these things and take them
in January, we start popularizing this.
Exactly.
Yes.
So here again, you listen to him. What is he saying? Who said we want those meetings?
Ken, let me just
say.
So
my last comment is this. I think the Deputy President is entitled. He should run for president. I've said how many times I've said how the guy is actually qualified, and if need be, let him run, and Kenyans will make a judgment on that. But what many of us are also saying is this: we must be sensitive as Kenyans to realize that some of our communities have been saying we need a country that is open. We need a country that is inclusive. We need a country that will forgive each other. And we need a country when we are going to be employed, we don't look at where you come from. We want a country where, Mwaura, the way you see, you've been fighting for the albino community. You've done a fantastic job. Now, Kenyans know your skin color and who you are as an albino never determines your destiny. That's what we want in this country.
By the way, before Nelson comes in, now that Onyoka looks at me directly, you don't say albino, you say person with albinism.
Sorry.
I'm very happy that
thank you, sir. Thank you. Sorry about that.
I was able to fight for them to be counted for the first time.
Yes.
And also intersex people.
Yes.
Now, you know, the small communities, the people who are playing the game you are saying, of seeing the division of the big major tribes and coming in as the Somali. They have really succeeded because Duale today is a leader of majority.
Yes.
A minority, the leader of majority. And it's okay. It's fair to have those equal opportunities.
They have learned the game.
Wherever. But you see, don't advance. Matiang'i, for example, by the way, very few Kenyans even remember he's a Kisii. They look at him as somebody who, particularly when he was in the Ministry of Education, was able to make genuine, deserving Kenyans who are being rigged out of university by people who are paying 30,000 to get an A, to get an opportunity to become people.
That is true.
And that remains. And that is the currency that we have. In fact, I was asking people around, so for TIF today, Matiang'i was a candidate. Believe you me, they say they would vote for him. True. But do not sell him as a Kisii candidate.
Exactly. No.
You will have failed him because by the end of the we have very good leaders, like even Nakina Kivuda Kibwana, even to some extent I can say Oparanya, who have performed, in fact to a very good extent, who have performed in their backyard, and they have just been altruistic. Now, let me come to the issue of positions. And Nelson Koech was very right. If you look at the position of Deputy President, it's a very weak position. By the way, it has nothing. Yeah. It's only that the current occupant has made it very powerful by sheer force of his personality. And of course, by the magnanimity of President Kenyatta, who did not want antagonism like the one we saw in the Grand Coalition. So he allowed actually the Deputy President to thrive. That one, we must give it to President Uhuru Kenyatta at any given point. If you are to create the position of Prime Minister, who also is going to be sacked, Beth Mogo said it very clearly, you cannot create two centers of power, who is also going to be sacked. And remember, we who are in Kikuyu land, we are also saying we have had this presidency for quite some time.
Excuse me, what did you call yourself?
We who are in Kikuyu land. Yes.
That's where the Kikuyu, why? That's where the Kikuyu come from.
No,
why wouldn't you want Matiang'i to be a Kisii?
No, just listen. We who are in Kikuyu land are saying we have had many presidents. And it's true. It's a fact. Three, isn't it? Yeah. And by the way, if you are to calculate, let me give you the mathematics which can aid your argument. If you have to calculate the number of years that a Kikuyu president has been, 12 is actually 35 after the President Uhuru. Yes. And if you are to add on to the number of Kikuyus who have been vice president, minus Saitoti, who is neither Kikuyu or wherever, it is another 12 because it is 11 of Kibaki and another 9 months of Josephat Karanja. That's 57. If you are to do the same for Kalenjin, it will come to 56.
True.
So we are very much aware of the fact
you need another explanation.
No, just listen. I told you.
Maura, you need another explanation.
Richard, listen. I told you I'm giving you an answer to aid you. I told you. I declared that interest.
Proceed, my brother, proceed.
We in Central Kenya know very well that we may not be having the ambition of having one of our own to succeed President Uhuru Kenyatta, who comes from our backyard. But also we are saying we would want still to be president because there must be value for our 6 billion votes.
Exactly.
However, we must also rise above those contestations. Why am I saying so? Nelson Koech is raising a very important question. The people who are going to occupy these positions will be leaders of ethnic communities, what I call in my ethnopolitical derivatives. People who cobble up something. And if we are looking for this magic bullet to heal our country, if I know I will be a premier by virtue of my ethnicity and the people I come with, is it in my interest to create nationalism? So that is a question we must ask ourselves, because we are trying to create a system that works so that we do not move to the edge of the precipice. Currently as constituted, and because of the dishonesty and the subterfuge that BBI is kind of trying to be shaped into because of the political contestations, we are going back to the edge. Is that going to help us?
Right. By the way, that's a lie. That's a statement you are making for political reasons. Just wait.
I need to talk to Koech.
I have to talk to
You will come to talk tomorrow.
Koech will speak.
Why don't we
wait. I need Koech to speak before I come back to you.
You've not even read the BBI report.
No, I have read it.
Have you read it? What is it that you disagree with?
The BBI report is very good at diagnosing the problem.
Yes.
The only challenge is that it makes a capsule of a premier as the solution to the problem.
Hold. You are a legislator. Your job, when we draft the bill, that is when you'll be solving the problem.
I'm happy that now there's a team of technical experts
who are going to come up and tell us how to solve the problem.
Who should be bold enough to propose radical changes in the constitution?
But you are opposing it.
Who has opposed it?
But that's what you just said here.
Richard, you are polemic. No. I say, I never opposed BBI. I have never, in fact.
Then in that case, I withdraw.
I am a columnist in the Star every weekend, and I've written extensively about the BBI.
Yes.
What I'm opposing is the weaponization of the BBI.
Okay. I agree with you.
To produce winners and losers.
No.
Yeah, that one I'm against.
How do you know? Because we've not even reached there.
Let me tell you.
Why
I live in this country. I agree with Maura. Number one, I have been in the constituency the entire like a week and a half, last week and the week before. And I can tell you they don't have the BBI documents. Now, look at it.
They are nowhere.
I'll give you, Richard.
Sorry.
So when you tell us that you're now doing rallies, then again it's becoming an elitist kind of thing. It should come from Mwananchi to say, this is what I feel should be changed. So what I saw about the Kisii rally, and I'm glad that today we have a committee that now we can directly engage with, rather than these barazas that are out there gustling and field gustlers and all these guys who are
going busy in barazas. Which you always gustle with your rallies when you are going for Tanga-Tanga rallies.
Make sense. In fact, let me tell you, the Kisii rally turned out to be something different. It was actually a bashing ground of the deputy president. It turned out to be where insults were going to be exchanged, and yet they were talking about building bridges. So I want to say that we need copies of this document. No one has refused it.
We've called for it also.
We really want to give it out to the people on the ground so that people can start now, knowing what exactly we're discussing, and then now we can channel our proposals to the committee that has come out. So that is what we are waiting for. But I can tell you for sure, the rally that was in Kisii,
yes,
was a platform for particular individuals to showcase their lineup for 2022 and to start politics.
No,
that is the point. Other than Matiang'i, who else was not ODM?
I was not ODM.
No, of course, but you are lying to Matiang'i.
No.
That's why you want to.
Now you
can punch someone even when he talks about Matiang'i. In fact, I was warned before coming here that.
No.
Be careful when you mention Matiang'i.
As a member of parliament with me, you are passing aspersions on my character.
I am not.
Which is not good.
I'm not. You are extremely competent. I'm with you in the
character. But I'm right here. I will not punch you. I wouldn't punch you. But let me now tell you, whether you people like it or not.
What do you mean?
William Ruto, wait, I'm talking about Kenyans who happen to be supporters of DP.
Yeah.
You taught us how you take your candidate, then you train him. He now waits for the adversary, then he negotiates, then he takes the loot home.
So what is it?
So wait. So what have we done? We have taken our candidate.
Onyonka, are you from the BBI kitchen?
Just wait.
Imagine.
No, I'm not.
He's saying he's taken their candidate.
You know the food was returned to the
candidate is Matiang'i,
no,
who is supposed to be the interior minister.
You guys are not
He's a competitor.
You are not listening to me. You are not listening.
You are
to me.
giving us a very
listen
good
to
political
me.
strategy.
Yes.
We are listening.
Listen to me. The Kisii community has decided, whether you like it or not, that we are going to be on the table when the negotiations will take place for the development, for the political development of this country. Point number one. Take it or leave it. We have said we expect the Luhya community to do the same because we expect the coastals to do the same. That is what you just mentioned Duale here. That's what the Northeastern community has done. They have strategically put Duale in Jubilee and they have taken Junet and put him in ODM. We are not going to play those games anymore. Number two, we were not going to Kisii to lambast anybody. Listen to me. Wait, Mwaura. We didn't go to talk. Some people veered off for their own interest. But if you watch all the clips about the discussions which were taking place at the BBI, the people who were teaching the public were saying, these are the issues which may be outstanding. When the time comes, please give these views when the reporters come from the government printer, look at it, and MCAs were told to go to the village and start engaging.
Richard Onyonka, do not demolish Matiang'i. We love him.
I am not demolishing Matiang'i.
But from that kind of narrative,
no,
you are not advancing his cause.
He is a candidate. Matiang'i is a candidate.
Which candidate? Which candidate?
No, you're saying we have identified one person.
But we must have a leader.
The leader is no question.
I can tell you, every body language suggests
you guys are scared of him.
We are not scared.
Yes.
Why will we?
The guy is a leader. He has proved himself. Listen,
can be fired the same way Kiunjuri. He's a very junior person.
No, that is what you people don't want us to say.
No. Onyonka, you know Matiang'i.
You don't want us to say. What we are saying.
Onyonka.
Allow me, Professor. Professor.
But you have to allow others to speak also because
don't own Matiang'i. Matiang'i
is my friend. And I don't want us to make him the subject of discussion here.
But that's what they've been doing.
He's also a good man.
That's what they've been doing. They attack him every day.
Let's not talk bad about a good man.
They attack him every day.
He's also a Kenyan.
Yes.
And he's entitled
he can run for office. Kwani?
I also agree with you, Onyonka, that 2022 will be a boredom kind of politics.
We have to be prepared.
Every community will have a representative at the table.
Whether you are in the opposition or whether you are going to be in government.
The only thing I wanted to say, you people are talking about copies of the
BBI report.
As if people can read. Of course, they will not read. You are talking about order. I was telling somebody, you don't expect order with a BBI. This is a political process. This is politics itself. You get it? So, I've been advising the side of the deputy president to to match the politics that Uhuru and Raila are playing. This is the politics they are playing. You get what I'm saying? So if you want to move towards your ambition, then you have to match the politics these guys are playing. And the beginning point, and I've said this before, is to look at BBI as a political process. There will be nothing that will come to you straight. Even if you say that you want very clear provisions in the constitution, they can give a very weak presidency, okay, or a very weak premiership, and then Uhuru and Raila, their team wins. After they win, they vanquish the Ruto side. Because believe me, whoever loses the elections in 2022, if William doesn't join these people, whoever loses, whether it is William winning and Uhuru and Raila lose, whoever loses will be vanquished. Take it to the bank.
Are you saying
so
now listen? You saying Uhuru is a candidate?
No, I'm saying Uhuru
Isaac Mira.
I get scared when you talk about
Isaac said it.
Senator Cheriot called me
he's a prime
when I
minister
talked about that.
He's a prime minister candidate, yes.
I mean,
listen,
Murathe has told
my
us.
friend, I've said here before, Uhuru will be part of the arrangement.
Or rather, willed power from behind.
Whether
but he said he doesn't need
it
directly.
But in Sagana, he said,
mkinipatia ni sawa.
I was making a point. Let me just finish. You see, they can win. After winning, then they vanquish the opposition. And immediately after the election, they will bring a constitutional change. Because now the opposition is so vanquished.
Now you are scaring.
Then now
you are scaring Mwaura. You are really scaring
Now they will bring a referendum. Listen, they will bring a
true.
referendum shortly thereafter. Now they have all the power without any pretext. And say, this is the kind of prime minister we want. And this is the kind of president we want.
Can I tell you something?
You get what I'm saying?
Can I tell you?
Yes, Isaac.
That is not going to happen.
Okay.
And that is actually the fear of us in Mount Kenya region.
Why not?
If today you are to say even Uhuru Kenyatta is a prime minister, let's say he's the one.
Or a president.
First and foremost, the advancement of Uhuru being prime minister is more, I don't think it's more so for him, but the people around him.
Yes.
Because they are fearing that they will lose power and they cannot transfer the same to Ruto if he was to be president, for example. And it is not just a question of ethnicity. The Kikuyus who are around Kibaki did not translate into the inner circle of Uhuru. They changed because we associate as friends. There are people who went to campus, there are people we've grown with in politics. But this is the point. Central Kenya as a province, leave alone the Kenya diaspora, we have only 34 parliamentary seats.
Okay.
In the event where you have a weak prime minister, who happens, for example, to be Uhuru Kenyatta or whoever that can occupy that position, because we don't know, and Raila Odinga or the other person is the president, you remember what happened between Kibaki and Raila about creation of the position of prime minister? Who would want a strong prime minister? Who will be donating that power? After you win power, you even want to even say, you have 34 MPs, go away and appoint another premier, and believe you me, in parliament you still get a coalition, even though the people in the opposition. So we can see that danger, and that is why you saw me leading Mount Kenya MPs together with Jeremiah Kioni saying one vote, which was a game changer of the BBI.
Okay.
I wanted
one man.
He's talking about parliamentary. If it was parliamentary.
That's why it created a strong president and weak prime minister.
Professor Manyora,
instead of
you see, Ken, even when this issue that Moro is bringing has been discussed severally, it's like it has already been concluded. What we are saying, we need to be a people who are willing to sit and discuss and take what is best for our country.
Okay.
Those who want to smither in the BBI because they think, and you know, there's this thing of Raila being a demon all these years and Raila is the one who should be hanged and everything. Mwaura, you've been with Raila. Do you really think Raila is a dictator? You've been with him for 10 years. You've worked with him in the trenches. We've been beaten up. We've been smoked. Gunshots have been thrown to us.
No, you're making it too difficult for Mwaura. Please.
I think you shouldn't answer that question. You don't have to answer.
I have my opinion about Raila Odinga.
Yes.
And I have my opinion about William Ruto. I have an opinion about Musalia Mudavadi. Yes. I have an opinion about Uhuru Kenyatta. You know, I've worked with almost all of those leaders in one way or another. Yes. Some of them we were together in ODM and they differed. So it's not really about who the person is. This is a political contest. It's about people. For me, what I'm saying, because you also create some. You see, the leadership of an individual like you and I is symbolic. It's not about more so about your personal traits. Sometimes they amplify to make you sellable.
What I'm saying is, we can actually have a change in this country there is a change that is believed in, that can be believed in.
Okay.
I believe that this thing is not about Raila and William Ruto. I believe that if you were to analyze William Ruto individually and try and give him a mark, the guy is above 50, 155 is above William. He's about 50. If you were to analyze Raila, it's the same thing. My argument is we need to encourage each other with our brothers in Tangatanga that this thing is not about.
Pointing at him?
No, I'm not pointing at him. I'm just using the table. Okay, let me talk to you. Professor Manyora, we need.
No, saying correct is Keleleke. It's like saying Tangatanga.
Yes, we need to talk to our brothers and agree that we can sit down and these 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 leaders can sit down and come up with a document. When the experts have sat.
Let me know do something important also.
I need Mheshimiwa Koech to say something. I also need
something very important that we might lose in the process of all this discussion. Today, I come from an area that is predominantly tea growing. And I want to really applaud the president today for what he did. First of all, Senator Cheriot, Honorable Maura's colleague in the Senate, has a tea bill 2018, which is going to come to, it is already in Parliament, second reading, and that is largely on the message the president had today, that the tea sector largely relies on the policies that will come out from that very beautiful bill by Honorable Cheriot. That I must applaud. I must applaud the president for going to releasing money to mop up a lot of tea, a lot of milk that was rather being poured across the country and having it as a powder. That is also something very, very positive outside politics. The cherry advance, that is, if it is going to be operationalized, that is something very, very beautiful. And we must also applaud the president for that. So I think if we engaged on things that are very constructive like this, then again, at the same time, we'll be speaking to Mwananchi. Instead of all the time, we have all these discussions around BBI or about rallies.
Who does this? Why are you saying all the time as if you're never part of it?
Let me tell you, without this committee being gazetted yesterday, we were going to get into an extremely different platform and temperatures were rising.
You know, the way the way is ruthless.
When he wants to speak, he speaks his mind.
I was in Serena today, and there's a team already that was ready to respond to, and it was becoming, now you speak, I respond. It was getting very nasty.
Okay,
and I must appreciate.
Gentlemen, I'd like to play this soundbite from Deputy President William Ruto, and then we can conclude or continue this discussion because time is also running out. Well, let's listen to William Ruto.
A report that has been accepted by all Kenyans. Why is there a campaign? Why are we using public resources? Where do they find money to go campaigning for a document that has no opposition?
All right, this is very interesting. Deputy President, first, from the top of my mind, Deputy President William Ruto, Deputy President, should not be complaining of the use of resources. He's a Deputy President. And for opposition using this. But anyway, before I come to you, gentlemen, when the BBI report was released by the task force, I hosted Mheshimiwa Onyonka here. And he sat where you sat. And he was extremely angry. If I could play your soundbite. About the BBI report. Then the other day I see you in Kisii.
Oh, I'll explain.
Where behind supporting that?
I'll explain. When I first got the report, I actually got the wrong report. Remember there were two
circulating research.
Yes, so I had read the wrong one. By the time we finished with you in the studio and I got home is when somebody called me and said, the one you are attacking is not the one that has... In fact, the one that was put on road, the proper one, came after our show.
So it's not like you've seen the light?
No. I have got the right BBI report, one.
And you supported that?
35% going to the county governments, so long as the money goes to the wards under the...
But those are some of the things we discussed then, Mheshimiwa.
No, but the one which, you see the one which, Dr. what's his name? Aukot.
Ekuro Aukot, the Third Way Alliance.
That is the one.
That's the one that informed the discussion.
Exactly, and then that one was slashing off. And they said it wouldn't pass. Why? You can't change constituencies. You can't change counties.
All right. The reason why ODM was not happy with the report and Tangatanga, if you think it's Tangatanga, were happy because it was not what people expected.
Yes.
You had people like Atwoli sounding very annoyed about it.
Yes.
They wanted a restructured government. The things people were canvassing were never in that report, really, not in the sense in which they should have been, including the devolution, including the structure of government, and so on and so forth. They were not in that.
Taking money to the wards. Remember, it was a very sensitive issue.
I'm trying to help some people understand this game. I'm telling you, this is a political game. That was not the report. I said it before.
Thank you.
They
The
could
one
not-
we saw that
yes,
was
they
circulated.
could not release the report. It couldn't say the things because the temperature was so bad in the country. If you release the real report, they could have been.
So what did they do? What did they do?
So they tossed this thing to the public now.
To confuse us even
Yeah,
more.
now.
And you remember there were like 3 or 4 reports.
Now they have come here with another 6-month extension. It is still the same game. They are buying time, and 2 things will happen. One, once they see the mood is good,
they release the real report.
the environment is conducive.
Conducive, yes.
You will not know how the referendum bill
will
appear. It will just appear now. And this is why, you people, you need to buy me a cup of tea.
Well,
in the event it doesn't become possible to do what exactly they want to do, the BBI people, take it from me, and I've said it here a short while ago, they will usher in 2022, go through an election, and they will win the election.
Vanquish the opposition.
The reason why they are likely to win, I like William, and I actually hope he wins. But why the Raila team is likely to win? Finally, the Mount Kenya people, when I'm talking, you listen. They are divided. Finally, the Mount Kenya people.
They'll support Uhuru.
They will face Mount Kenya, all of them, without exception. And the reason why they will face Mount Kenya is because their stake is going to be made very clear, extremely clear. We are the people who are still in power in this country, but we are now going to share it with somebody.
Yes.
But we are the ones in power.
And
So
we'll manage it
immediately
this way.
after the election, if that thing is not achieved now, immediately after the elections, then you see the really thing on the table. And I'm telling you, if there was a weak president, it can be Raila's house. If it is some kind of arrangement where Raila is this and somebody is the other, after independence, things just
people are revealing their strategies here.
So he's a political commentator.
Just in short, what I'm saying, if you don't see the BBI for what it is, those of you, especially in Tanga, you lose this game. And you will not only lose, you lose so badly, you will not even want to look at each other.
Okay.
But maybe, Ken, let me just maybe give validity to what Professor has said, because he's a professor, he's very objective. The one thing that may make the Handshake team to have an upper hand over the Tanga team is just what I said earlier on, the combination of state machinery and the opposition politics. Because now, let me ask today, if, for example, William Ruto was to find himself in the opposition, this is a very different terrain. Because William Ruto
is used to being in
William
government.
Ruto has never been out of, apart from the time we were in ODM, and we still shared Mnusumukate, William Ruto by then has never lost an election, remember? Even in his Eldoret North constituency, when it was that way. So you have rookies. Raila has mastered, in fact, he has dominated this space. Even when we talk about domination of political power, we may also want to talk about who is a Dion of political opposition, because you're always the next government and you always get something. But at the end of the day, will the youth also be able to rise and claim their stake?
Yes.
I know I talk about the Hustler Nation, about them also getting a stake, because I am looking at this. If it's about succession, then it is very clear, Ken, that the more things change, the more they remain the same.
Okay,
yeah.
Great. I want to finish. Gentlemen.
One last comment.
No, you still have time to comment.
Okay.
But I want to ask about, just briefly, your comments. And I begin with Mheshimiwa Nelson Kwaj. What is this order from above? Because if the persons in the caliber of the people we see doubting this word around and running with it and always claiming order from above and claiming being frustrated, even the deputy president claiming to be frustrated. Who is this person who is frustrating a deputy president of a country?
Let me tell you that, first of all, being a child of government, like Honorable Maura did mention, I've never seen the opposition in my constituency until now that I'm elected. And the other day I went to Limani police station And
tested
he
tested
I have never tested tear gas in my life.
Yeah.
I'm still recovering.
Welcome.
After we were
Welcome.
tear gas. And I'll tell you this, when it is when we got to Kilimani and all these things, we were trying to find out what really was happening with Moses Kuria. There's a court order that has been verified, and even to people who I could talk to in my own language told me, I think you're wasting your time here. Just go home. This guy will not be released. You will find him in court on Monday, so just go and relax. I just come from the constituency. And they said it was orders from above.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone around with the deputy president. He has never complained, but I was in Kisii just before Christmas with the deputy president, and we didn't see any senior police officer for that matter. And again,
even government officer.
Any government officer who came to receive him, you were received by an MP, which I think those are things that deputy president can, from his position, can argue. But, from my angle, I look at it very differently. I look at it as, abuse of office and total insubordination.
Okay.
Because we did not want a situation where today, and like I said before.
Did you say he was received by an MCA?
Yeah. So I will say something like...
And it's not the first time that's happening in Kisii. It's happened before. He's not smiling. Actually, that was a shocked face.
And those people who are wielding offices, any person who works
the chief,
even who works in as a cabinet secretary, for whatever position, from experience of Kiunjuri today, you must know that you're just there temporarily. And that office, those powers, donated powers, can be vanquished in a minute today if you're fired. So you should never play into the hands, just allow me, Richard, you should never play into the hands of politicians in the executive. You should try as much as possible to be as neutral. I mean, whatever differences that the president and the deputy or any other person could be having, it does not involve you in any way. Your job is to serve the government of the day and do that is just and right. So do not play into the hands of politicians, because you can imagine today the deputy president becomes a president and the person...
Same people.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And I saw today in NTV, former speaker Maalim explaining something. That, what is this problem that today we are so hungry to get into power, and then when you get into power, you've been tear gassed when you're in the trenches, like Onyonka was saying, but when you get into power again, it is your turn now to take the other ones into the trenches. Why don't we finish this culture once and for all, so that when whoever comes in, we can enjoy as a country? Let me tell you, I want to be a person today who will be subjected to the rule of law. I can walk anywhere in this country, knowing that I have someone somewhere in office who will not take political side. What we are seeing at the moment on frustrations of the deputy president, they will pass. I mean, we have 2 years, and whoever will come and become the president shall be. But let us have institutions that are strong, that can be able to safeguard every individual's right, so that we do not suffer the way the deputy president. I really pray that the deputy president who is going to come,
not face the same
and
thing.
if William Ruto is going to the president, let him not face. And that is why even this BBI, we fully accept it, because there are things that we must change so that officers must be respected. What is the job of the deputy president today? He's just someone who's he's just here to tanga. As I finish. There is nothing that they have given. There is no job description.
It's a very weak position.
And that is why the deputy president is going around launching projects, because there is no, like Moro was saying, there is really, other than this teacher, and what the president had before will allow him to, to go around and probably check on projects and all these things. There's really nothing about that office that you can be happy about. But now let us put some meat into that office, so whoever comes in future can enjoy that office.
I have a question for you.
Devoid of frustrations from
I have a question for you
servants.
before I get to the other gentleman, Mheshimiwa Koech.
Yes.
What happens if the state machinery
Yes.
that you're requesting, that ordinarily the deputy president should be having since 2013, we saw him afforded all that machinery. What if this same state machinery that will be afforded to the deputy president is used to abuse the president?
Let me tell you one thing.
Because that's exactly what perhaps could be happening in this political rallies.
Let me tell you.
Yes.
But this, by the time you have someone like deputy, and I said, these people were elected together.
Exactly.
Remove William Ruto Ruto and leave President Uhuru Kenyatta and let us see if he was very,
I don't think you've answered this question.
I'm getting into his point.
If you are president and you are a deputy president who's making his people insult you,
what would happen? Would you give that machinery?
Is it fair to say that people can respect the president and not respect the deputy president?
It's not fair to say that. You
but is it fair to have a deputy president and his team insulting the president?
They have, I mean, let me tell you, I have had,
it is not
I
fair.
have had president even today saying, let us give room to people who can express themselves freely.
Which is okay.
And
but
we are maturing democracy to believe where we are tolerated for what you say. That is growing.
Let me make this simpler. Let me make this simpler
Just
for
allow
you.
me, yeah.
Anytime members of parliament are seen to have misbehaved in court,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Their bodyguards are withdrawn.
Yes.
Anyone with official car is withdrawn.
Yes.
Why is that? Why does the state do that?
Because it's a way of punishment. That is why there has to be.
So when the state machinery is on the ground, the deputy president is well received by the provincial commissioners, who, by the way, owe an allegiance to the country and the president. What happens when that state machinery is used to attack the president?
Let me tell you today. Someone has been made a CAS this morning who I have his tweet today insulting the deputy president. Are we saying that the president is rewarding Zach for insulting Zach Inudia for insulting the deputy president? Are we saying everyone now? Let me tell you, I look at even governors, how they come out boldly nowadays to say, oh, we do not want to be associated, we don't want tanga in our county. It is because they know
I think you're making this show to be
where you can be cleansed. And
no, I just wanted to understand.
By the security you are turning this show to become a case where you want to defend William Ruto.
We are not defending William Ruto.
We don't want to defend anybody.
Okay, so I want to ask the president also to look into the maize.
Let him finish.
I want the president to look into the maize issue. It's covered well on many other areas. We have a problem at the moment.
Okay.
We might lack food towards the end of the year. We want the president to have addressed the issue of maize shortage that we perennially experience
in the country. Yeah. Manyora, because I don't want to go back to the deputy. I think that one is done.
But you are being very unfair to me.
No, because you just want to bash the deputy president. You want
I want to use logic.
Let us be objective.
I want to use logic.
I'm talking about
which other deputy president has ever behaved the way William Ruto behaved?
What has he done? It is
which other in Kenya? I think whether it's Kalonzo, whether it's who, look at how they behaved and how these guys are behaving.
William Ruto is the first deputy president
in the new constitution.
Yes.
So that means when you're deputy president, then you have to carry yourself differently.
How? A vice president was usually even holding an office,
no,
foreign affairs, home affairs,
if you
and
want
all.
to be treated as a king, please behave like a king.
I think he behaves.
I wanted to make an observation in passing quickly that you will not give the deputy president powers, substantive powers, in any constitution. They have always argued the deputy president is like Prince Charles, a person who waits for that one moment when that office becomes vacant, either by death, resignation. That's what vice presidents do. They are just there to wait.
Absolutely.
Deputy governor. You can't give them substantive. There will be a lot of conflict. You can't be president and give somebody else your principal assistant. Nobody can give them powers in the constitution. You can assign them, and that's why the constitution says that. The other thing I wanted to mention before I talk about the powers from orders from above.
Orders from above, yes.
Is what you saw in Kilimani police station, and what you have seen elsewhere. I have said you see a lot more of that, and I want to point out to you, and Maura should be listening because he interacts with some of these guys from Mount Kenya. Very soon, people will begin running away from those guys.
Which guys?
These guys from Central Province who are hitting at the president. You give them 6 months. You'll be going to a hotel and people just begin to walk out. I'm telling you, this is this country.
That is dictatorship.
It's not dictatorship.
No, we are going back to the...
Power is associative, my friend. Power is associative.
Reality is...
Let me tell you.
We are in the opposition. We've seen these things.
We need to be fair to the president of this country. Because when people say orders from above, and even others are lying with a straight face that none other than the Kinoti can talk about orders from above, I doubt Kinoti could do that. Let's be fair to the president. During President Jomo Kenyatta's time, a lot of good things happened in this country. But there are also very bad and ugly things that happened. We have read and heard stories. Somehow many of these things, the president never knew anything about them. Perhaps because he was old, perhaps because sometimes his health was failing, but it is in the nature of high office that sometimes many things happen you don't know. So there would be many people who would take advantage of that kind of confusion to make it appear as if really Uhuru is ordering people to do those small things like Moses Kuria in Kilimani. Those are beyond the president. I doubt he can engage himself in such. But again, there will be always people who will be doing these things assuming the president will be very happy that they have done so. So, you know, this happens. And therefore, when you talk about orders from above, let's understand how power operates. And those around power, they are overzealous. They want even to do things, even if you got to know they were being done in your name, you can even slap somebody. So let's dismiss this idea and this notion that the so-called orders from above concerning somebody as small as Moses Kuria could be coming from Uhuru Kenyatta.
I think let me say this, and I agree with Professor a lot, because that is exactly what happens. You know, people who want to please you and who think that they are thinking for you. And especially for President Kenyatta, who really has not really, you know, he's a very good-hearted man, very good-hearted man. There are two lessons that I think we need to learn as a country about the political contestations. That number one, we saw how Raila and Kibaki related. So Raila was accused of upstaging Kibaki, and that didn't work well. In fact, my people say if he had humbled himself, the time he would have been president. The time he was being called Jamba when he was going to Nyeri. I remember I was a student at Kenyatta University and we saw them there with vehicles we had never seen before, thanks to the NAC dream. But then, that is lesson number one. So the issue is, now this time round, Uhuru never wanted that acrimony because they said they had learned from the Kibaki-Raila relationship. Because it's like the dynamic duo. So what did he do? He leaned back and allowed Ruto to shine. What is the consequence? The same. So you have to ask yourself this question, Richard, as an aspiring governor of Kisii, and Professor Manyora as aspiring senator for Kakamega. For Vihiga, sorry. Yes. Do you want to have a deputy who, if they try to raise their head, you hit so that they can remain where they are? Or do you want to have a deputy who goes and helps you and you are the person, you know, remaining behind? That is number one, politics 101. Number two, we are trying to manage ethnicity here. Let's just face it. It's about which, who gets what, where, and how. So, has the model in Uganda worked? So you have the president. I was there when the Museveni made a reshuffle. So you have the president, you have the vice president, you have the Rukunda as a premier, and two deputies. Has it worked in bringing together the Basoga, the Baganda, and the northern tribes, basically the Luo tribes of Uganda? Look at Tanzania. You know, look at Joseph Pinda. Look at Kikwete. Look at Salma Suluhu. Again, I was there over December holidays. We need to start asking ourselves, because that's what we are looking at. Yeah? Because when we look at the case, Professor Nyoro, you were talking about Obama coming in, the Americans were only cleaning their image because of the mess they had done in Iraq and the wars by the Bush, the two Bushes and what have you. So if we then are trying to clean the image, isn't it then okay to say that we find the right formula and the right people?
Thank you.
Because the people that I see who can really transform this country are not anywhere near being mentioned that they can win elections. People who have actually demonstrated. Yes. But with the elections of people like Sonko and Waitito, who we are waiting for him at the Senate, those are the kind of people who seem to be the ones that people prefer.
All right, gentlemen, I think...
I have no comment.
All right, gentlemen, let's take a look at the cartoon of the week. Then we will talk about who said what. Then we'll end the show. The cartoon of the week. Right, that's the cartoon of the week. Could you put it on the screens behind me to make it easy also? So that's our cartoon of the week from Gado on today's appointment. It's right here, Mheshimiwa Mwaura, if you can look at it. So basically, that's the cabinet, and then there's a reshuffle, and then voila, that's all we have. Let me begin with...
no, I'm still looking at it.
let me say, is this my last...
No, it's not the last.
Okay,
yeah.
Let me say
just on the cartoon only.
What I see here. And I say this at the backdrop of knowing that we are now doing BBI and trying to have an inclusive government. And I think what these people are saying is that it's exactly... The cabinet is exactly how it was. Nothing really has changed, just a few names have changed. But if you look in terms of ethnicity and the regions, it is still the same thing. I would want to imagine that, and probably even same character. It's just moving one person from this point to the other and having new faces, but from...
I've seen it now.
You think Mutahi Kagwe is a good addition or not? With his experience?
It will be a good person, but I mean, let's see what he will do in
agriculture. And also the cabinet, I think, has met the general now.
It's a whole world of a difference from where he was before.
Yes.
But I mean, he's been a performer before. I wish him all the best. And,
okay.
Let's see.
I want to say, I think for me, I really found it very interesting. Monica Juma has always been somebody who's very strong. I'm happy she went to defense. I think Rachel Omamo, after serving for 7 years, might have gotten tired of being there. 2 or 3 individuals who were brought in. I think Mutahi Kagwe has a dignified reputation. Even when we were in parliament with him, he's a man we expect a lot from. I believe he'll be able to help the president achieve that. People had expected more. All right, there was this feeling that...
But we didn't even know the reshuffling was going to happen.
Many people were hearing about it, but people had expected more in terms of the war within Jubilee, but I think the president was very careful.
Okay.
He was really careful, and I think he was sending an olive branch to the Tanga team and saying, you guys, we have not collapsed yet, and we still look for a way how we can talk so that we salvage the BBI and work together and take the country forward.
So you think it's a cosmetic change or not? What has happened?
To a large extent, yes, but what it did, it can't be cosmetic, because I would have seen if there was a small picture of my brother from Laikipia, maybe after being
the makeup is there.
The kid is there. Okay. Let me
now seen.
Yes.
I think not much has happened, especially understood from the point of view that many people have always been asking Uhuru Kenyatta in the past 2 or so years to really reorganize this government in light of what has been happening in this country. And if you are looking at any change that has left certain individuals in cabinet, then people are tempted to imagine, to say, well, there's no change. Because there are people who have committed crimes against this country in the manner in which they have either managed or mismanaged their ministries. Because if you are given a responsibility as a cabinet secretary, it's a very serious responsibility, a position of trust. And whatever you do from that position will affect this country for many years to come. And when you make it your routine to scheme and steal billions and destroy everything in your work, so that by the time your 5 years as CS are over, nothing's left in that ministry, then we were expecting those kind of people would not be there. But when people like Mutahi Kagwe come in, this is my friend, he's a very good man, he has proved before he's a good man. But then there are also people like Manyora who has not been brought in, and who should have considered if we really wanted change.
Okay, great. Isaac,
no, I agree.
I saw the way to ask for a
you need to go to places.
That's how.
The president watches the show. So
that's how Trump employs his people.
Let me say this. First and foremost, Gado has done a very good job, because if you look at the person orchestrating the change in the cabinet, it looks like a bishop. You see, like
no, that's the king. That's the king.
It looks bishophoric. It's like making the makeup. But this is a pig, and it's like a female pig kind of thing, with whatever mammary runs there. And anyway, that's the comedy side of it. Look at it. I want to look at it from politics. And by the way, Professor, to give you heads up, you see Zaki Nodia now is a CAS. That is how people get jobs. And and I'm very happy for him. He's my personal friend. In fact, we had spoken just yesterday. Today is a CAS. So congratulations, Zaki Nodia. He's a very brilliant guy, by the way. He's very, very gifted, and I hope he can help us to move issues of education. Look at Lina Jebi Kilimo also. I mean, who expected her to come back? He has been minister before. He was made assistant minister. And then now he's come as CAS. Congratulations to her. You see some kind of musical chairs, because Ambassador Monica used to be the PS defense.
Yes.
When I came first to Parliament. And she was brilliant. We used to be out by the way she was answer questions. So she's been taken back there. And then Rachel Omamo, who was the ambassador in France has been minister. So you can see Rachel has won over that. That is actually a win, because foreign affairs is very influential. And I wish that they will work together with Ambassador Kamau. He's a very seasoned diplomat. But generally, then Mutahi Kagwe, obviously, we have said that he's a great man. We have seen also Munya winning over Kiunjuri on this one. I mean, it's good to get, because also we have our own Mount Kenya succession politics. So Munya also is ambitious. So he has stuck with the side of the president, and so he has, of course, gotten the reward for that. Kiunjuri has been said, go and be with your deputy president. You can as well be a running mate. And I hope Nelson Koech is not going to drop now that he may not be very attractive.
I didn't even want a running mate.
No, he's not a very good option, of course, for William Ruto, for Mount Kenya, and also to appease to the diasporians who also happen to be Rift Valley and who also seem to be closer to the sentiments about William Ruto. So basically, I think that is a game of chess, is how you play it. Okay. By the end of the day, these are the crowds. Now, Zachary, for example, if he wants to run for parliamentary seat, he will have the wherewithal. Okay. I mean, you can make all the noise, by the end of the day, let me not finish.
All right. Gentlemen, let's now play Who Said What for this week, and then you can have a minute each to close the show for us. Let's hear is Who Said What.
My statement is very short, but it's not that I'm lacking in many things that I can say. Remember, for any action, there will be reaction. You keep it cool, I keep it cool. For any action, there will be reaction. I thank you.
All right, as brief as that was his statement. All right, gentlemen, we're closing the show, and I'll give you a minute each. It's well past our bedtime. But let me begin with Mheshimiwa Nyonka.
Yes.
Yes, your closing remarks. Just in a minute.
Ken, let me tell you what my really deep thoughts are about our country. All these top leaders in our political class can actually sit, can talk. They can discuss amongst themselves. Because we've been through this journey together. William Ruto has been with Raila. Raila has been with William Ruto. We've been in the coalition government. Uhuru has been against us. We have abused him and insulted him. We have been everything. ICC has come, all these things. My honest observation is that we need to sometimes sit down and say, I think this country, we can sit and talk. Finally, it's exactly the same feeling I have about Miguna. Okay. The guy should come back home. He may make too much noise. Many people may not like him. Others may like him. But I think it's much ado about nothing. I think allow him to come. Allow him to come and talk about what he wants to change Kenya within the law. Allow him to do that. And let's make our country a little bit more friendly for everybody. Well, that's really what I feel right now.
Well said. Well said.
Spot on. Kenya is our country. This is 2020. Let us focus now. Let us get down to work. Let us work for the people of this country. Let us improve our economy. Let us improve our dairy sector. Let us improve our coffee sector. Let us improve our tea sector. Let us have youth of this country being observed in mainstream employment and even creation of jobs for the people of this country. That is extremely what is important for the people, and even us in the political class, that is extremely what will be important going forward. So I will want to urge the country, like as we even go forward and coalesce for the BBI, let us do it soberly. This is our country. Let us have a very positive discourse over this program that we're about to engage in, and let us not be seen to be breaking bridges and barriers on individuals. Let us come together as a nation, work together, because this is our country. Thank you.
Well said, Mheshimiwa Maura.
Yeah, I want to really say that this has been a very good show, and as we begin the year, we will see more politics. You know, as politicians, we went very well, but tomorrow will be the one saying all the other things. You cannot rule out Uhuru Kenyatta in Mount Kenya region. That would be to your peril. I mean, you cannot dismiss him. He still has his supporters, and he still has he wields a state power. So you must always consider that when you do your question. I think we need an opposition, Richard Onyonka, because we have seen what it means not to have opposition, because there is no divergent views. And now we are appreciating the role Raila Odinga was playing when he was in the opposition, because even the people now are becoming oppositionists are the ones within Jubilee. So politics are very politics are very polemic. There is always a fissure, so people will always be divided. Finally, is to say that it's very saddening to hear a young man by the name of Benson, who is disabled from Joytown Special School, who was admitted at Thika High School and was denied admission today because of his disability. I think that is not acceptable. We cannot be talking about discrimination. And as spoken to the Peers Education, Dr. Belio Kipsang, I hope you can take up that matter so that that child can also be given an opportunity to go to school with others like any other.
All right, and I think that's something that we'll try as NTV to follow up tomorrow, now that you brought it to our attention.
Yes.
And finally, Prof.
We discussed about Cabinet Uhuru's move today and BBI. On Uhuru's move, I want to say he has proved some people wrong. He has shown that he's on top of things. And as a teacher, when I was marking the script today, I've given him 70%. I hope this will be improved to 80 and 85. That equally also means those on the other side of the divide should be a little more careful, and they should go back to the drawing board to match this score of Uhuru today. On BBI, much as I've said is a political game, it is nevertheless something we can use to change this country. And actually, indeed, BBI will affect this country for many years to come, whichever way it goes. But finally, I want to say this, Ken. Even as we talk about reshuffles, we talk about BBI, we must continuously be aware, especially the leaders, that many Kenyans are going home, are going to bed hungry. There's so much poverty in this country. Schools have opened and there is just chaos.
Absolutely.
Even as Magoha, my boss, says no child shall be sent away, I wonder whether he lives in this country. Many parents have their, you are an MP, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes,
Many parents have their girls and boys at home. We must find ways to ease the burden from Kenyans. So even as we talk this politics of BBI, you leaders just know that a majority of Kenyans are suffering so badly that unless you do something, they will not let you enjoy the good things you have made for yourself. If you want to enjoy what you have made and a little of what you have stolen, ensure you ease the burden of Kenyans.
All right, gentlemen, I want to thank you very much for coming for this show. But before I thank you, because you didn't even wish people New Year, right? It's okay. Let's do the final part of the show. And Mwangi Kiunjuri becomes the second cabinet secretary to be fired by President Uhuru Kenyatta since he took over in 2013 now. The other former cabinet secretary to be unceremoniously dismissed was Rashid Echesa, who was asked during the first quarter of 2019. Now, the decision of the president to reshuffle his cabinet is informed, among other things, the need to strengthen his government. But there's also the need to replace Henry Rotich, who's facing charges in court, which also necessitated the reshuffling. So was the need to weed off, if I may say this, bad apples from that basket or from his cabinet. And inevitably, Kiunjuri had to go. So tonight, we take you back to the period when the cabinet was not fully constituted and the headlines that followed them from the Daily Nation. So we begin with July 24th of 2019. Cabinet reshuffle, that was the headline, and Uhuru's headache. Then a day later, Uhuru surprise wildcard, and of course that was about Ukur Yatani. And today Ukur Yatani has been confirmed to replace Henry Rotich as the cabinet secretary in charge of treasury. 1 month later, that was August 24th, Uhuru hands Matiang'i more power for the second time this year. And of course, you remember why that happened. And finally, on September 30th, the inside working of Uhuru's new state. That was the one you mentioned. There was every name, and Raila Odinga was also included in that. So that is something that cannot be ignored. And of course, it's also a good place to end the show tonight. Make sure you subscribe on the Sidebar YouTube channel because you'll be getting more of our videos. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming. And my team here, thanks very much. It's 6 minutes past midnight. Let's do this again. Next week, same place, same time. And remember, the Deputy President will be on our show pretty soon. We'll tell you when. Have a good night.